Hello again. So everybody tells us, don't they, that we should be thinking big. But you know what? I tend to favour thinking small. More specifically, I believe in applying the minimum effort to achieve the maximum results. It's a mindset, to be honest, I've come to adopt since adopting the role of a consultant. You see, before I became a consultant, I didn't actually have a lot of time for the role. It seemed to me that it was about making a lot of noise and looking busy rather than actually providing value. Therefore, when I decided to move into a consultancy, I wanted to provide my clients with the maximum results for the minimum time investment. I didn't want it to go down the route that I saw consultants as being. It's a mindset that served me pretty well, if I'm honest. However, I also believe it can help you as well for three reasons. First of all, thinking small forces you not to make assumptions about the solution, but instead seek to understand the desired outcome. In other words, a client may come to me asking for me to redesign their website, and that's a solution, you see. So, what the goal might be, however, is to increase the number of leads that come from the website, and there might actually be a simpler way of achieving that. The second reason that thinking small is good is that it puts the emphasis on progress rather than perfection. We often get caught up in creating the perfect solution, but perfect is often more than is actually required because perfect is expensive and time consuming. A smaller input of effort may not create perfection, but it will provide progress. Finally, thinking small places the emphasis on return on investment rather than the amount of effort you put in. And as an outside supplier, there's a huge amount of emphasis on the number of hours that you work. That typically is how you price things. However, what really matters is the amount of value that we provide. And this is why some people have started promoting value-based pricing. Now, personally, I find value-based pricing a bit challenging to make happen in practice. However, I want the value that I provide to be absolutely disproportionate to the effort that I put in. And I actually regularly reduce the scope of work that people come to me asking for. In fact, the vast majority of my individual engagements with any particular client consists of less than 5 days worth of work. I prefer to focus on short engagements that provide greater value. And let me give you 3 examples of where I've used this thinking small to provide more value to my clients. One client came to me asking for my help. She ran an in-house digital team that was utterly overwhelmed and in a constant state of firefighting. The demand for her services was so high that she wanted my help to expand her team and increase her capacity. However, when I looked at the problem, I realised a smaller, more cost-effective solution existed. You see, the problem was that the team was overwhelmed and so, as a result of that, was working inefficiently. They also had a huge number of small site updates to do that, frankly, anybody could do with a bit of education and training. So instead of recruiting, I actually spent just 5 days creating a very simple digital playbook that helped introduce some working methodologies into the team. And it also taught stakeholders across the organisation how to better engage with the digital team so as not to waste their time, and how to make small updates themselves. And this put the digital team back in control and saved the organisation a substantial investment in, expanding the team and adding staff. Another example was a client that approached me wanting help on a redesign. And when I asked why they wanted to do a redesign, they explained that their current website wasn't generating them enough leads. So instead of an expensive redesign, I recommended starting small and simply optimizing 3 critical pages on their website. It only took me 2 or 3 days, I can't remember exactly how long. And the result was a 24% increase in leads. And in the end, the client decided, well, it's not worth doing a redesign, and they saved themselves a substantial capital outlay. Now, the final example I want to share is a company that wanted to create a more user-centric culture. And the UX team within the organization decided that they wanted to run a one-day workshop with all staff. I couldn't help but think that about the number of person hours that would cost the organisation, to involve everybody across the whole company, and that people probably would resent being taken out of their normal work for an entire day. Also, as I chatted with the team, it quickly became apparent that the approach wouldn't be particularly effective anyway, and that was because the targets set by management were preventing staff from prioritising user-centric thinking anyway. They were too focused on things like conversion. Therefore, I proposed that instead of me spending a whole day with all of their staff, I spent just 20 minutes with their senior management team. Sure enough, this led to some changes in their key performance indicators, which included then things like customer satisfaction metrics, and the culture began to start shifting. Ultimately, all of this comes down to where you apply pressure. If you're having to apply enormous pressure in terms of effort, then the chances are you're actually applying the pressure to the wrong point, and you need to consider what you're doing. So ask yourself, is what you're currently working on the least you can do to achieve the goal you're looking for? Do you even have a clear picture of what that goal is, or are you too focused on the output rather than the result that you want? So perhaps it's time to change your mindset.